Welcome back to my channel. Today we explore the value of specific coins, the most valuable Lincoln Old Wheat penny coins value in market in dollar. So let's get started. First up, the 1935 Abraham Lincoln Wheat penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint and is part of the classic Lincoln Wheat cent series that ran from 1909 to 1958. The design shows President Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, with the date 1935 and the word liberty beside it, and the motto, "In God We Trust," above. On the reverse, two stylized wheat ears frame 1 cent and United States of America, which is why collectors call this series the Wheat Penny. The Lincoln Wheat penny has long been one of the most popular and recognizable coins in U.S. numismatics, not only for its design, but also for its historical context during the Great Depression. When we describe a coin as being in extra fine condition, it means the coin has experienced light circulation wear but retains most of its original detail. On a 1935 wheat penny in extra fine grade, Lincoln's hair, beard, and coat still show defined details with only slight flattening from circulation. Lines on the wheat stalks on the reverse remain distinct, and all lettering, including the date and motto, should be clear and readable. The presence of some scratches affects the overall eye appeal and can reduce part of the coin's collectible value, since collectors usually prefer coins with cleaner surfaces and minimal marks. Surface scratches don't add value, they slightly lower what someone may be willing to pay compared with a similar coin in equally high condition but with fewer surface issues. In today's coin market, a 1935 Abraham Lincoln Wheat penny without a mint mark in extra fine condition with some scratches is generally considered a nice but not rare collectible. Its value typically ranges from $4 to $8 in US dollars, depending on factors like eye appeal, color tone, how deep or noticeable the scratches are, and overall surface quality. Coins with pleasing brown or reddish-brown toning and only light, minor marks may attract prices toward the higher end of this range, while coins with heavier or more intrusive scratches tend to be valued toward the lower end. Collectors often prefer coins with original toning and surfaces that show natural age rather than cleaning or damage. A natural brown or reddish-brown color usually appeals more than coins with unnatural shine or uneven discoloration. Harsh cleaning can reduce value, even if the coin appears shiny, because it often leaves microscopic scratches or alters the surface character, which numismatists generally try to avoid. It's also useful to understand that values increase significantly in higher uncirculated grades. A 1935 wheat penny in about uncirculated or mint state condition, especially with full original color and strong strike, can be worth substantially more than a similar coin in extra fine. Variety and error coins, such as doubled dies, repunched mint marks, or other striking anomalies, can carry premiums if the errors are clear and collectible. However, typical circulation issues like minor surface scratches do usually not make the coin more valuable. They simply adjust where it sits within the expected value range for its grade. Next up is a 1956 Abraham Lincoln Wheat penny without a mint mark, which was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, as Philadelphia coins during this period did not carry a mint mark. It is part of the iconic Lincoln Wheat penny series, which ran from 1909 until 1958. The obverse features a right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, with the date 1956 to the right. Above Lincoln's head is the inscription, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty" is positioned to the left. The reverse displays the classic wheat design with two stylized wheat stalks along the edges, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum at the top. The 1956 issue is considered a common date, as millions of pennies were produced at the Philadelphia Mint for circulation. A coin in very fine condition shows moderate wear but retains clear detail on the main design elements. On a 1956 wheat penny in this grade, Lincoln's hairlines are worn yet visible, and facial features such as the cheek, jawline, and coat lines remain defined, though softened. The reverse wheat stalks show some smoothing, but the central lines of each stalk and all lettering remain clear and easily readable. The presence of scratches affects the coin's value. Scratches are considered post-mint surface damage, which can reduce collector interest. Minor surface scratches may slightly lower the value, while deeper or more numerous scratches can significantly decrease the price, even if the coin retains very fine details. Despite the scratches, the coin still maintains its historical and collectible significance as part of the Lincoln Wheat Penny series. In today's market, a 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark, in very fine condition with some scratches, typically has a value ranging from approximately 50 cents to $1.50 in U.S. currency. Coins with even brown or reddish-brown color and minor surface marks tend to sell toward the higher end of that range, while coins with more noticeable scratches or dull surfaces are closer to the lower end. Severe scratches or other significant surface issues may reduce the value even further. Collectors often pay attention to surface quality, color, and originality when evaluating wheat pennies. Most coins from the mid-1950s are brown due to natural oxidation. Original, uncleaned surfaces with natural toning are more desirable than coins that have been harshly cleaned or polished, which can leave hairline scratches and reduce eye appeal. Even with some scratches, a naturally toned, very fine coin is generally more appealing than a cleaned example. Higher grade examples, such as extra fine or about uncirculated, carry higher value because they retain more detail and exhibit better surface quality. Uncirculated 1956 pennies with original red color can be worth several dollars, depending on eye appeal and surface preservation. However, a coin with visible wear and scratches remains modest in value while still being collectible. The 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighs approximately 3.11 grams, and measures 19 millimeters in diameter. Its copper composition makes it durable, allowing many examples to survive decades of circulation. Next coin, 1945 Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny with an S mint mark, was produced at the San Francisco Mint and is part of the well-known Lincoln Wheat Cent series that ran from 1909 to 1958. The coin features President Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, with the date 1945 and the small S mint mark located to the right of his portrait. Above Lincoln's head appears the motto, "In God We Trust," and to the left is the word "Liberty." When a coin is described as being in good condition, it means it has been circulated heavily and shows significant wear. On a 1945 S Lincoln Wheat Penny in good grade, Lincoln's facial features, hair, and coat are worn down, and many of the finer design details are smoothed away, though the date and main lettering remain readable. The presence of some scratches further reduces the coin's visual appeal and slightly lowers its market value. Surface scratches do not add value and, in fact, are taken into account by collectors and dealers when evaluating the coin. Despite the wear and marks, the coin remains a genuine collectible and represents a tangible connection to mid-20th century American history. In today's market, a 1945 S Lincoln Wheat Penny in good condition with some scratches is considered a modestly valued collectible. Because of its high mintage and the large number of coins surviving in circulated condition, typical values are low, generally ranging from about 10 cents to 30 cents in US dollars. Coins with lighter wear and more appealing surfaces may command prices toward the higher end of that range, while those with deeper scratches or more pronounced wear are usually valued toward the lower end. Most 1945 S pennies in everyday circulation are accessible and affordable, making them a common starting point for beginner collectors or those completing a date set. Collectors often pay attention to factors such as eye appeal, toning, and surface quality when determining value. A coin with even brown toning is more attractive than one with uneven discoloration or cleaning marks. Many pennies from the 1940s develop a warm, brown coloration over time, and collectors generally prefer coins with natural toning and minimal artificial alterations. Harsh cleaning or environmental damage can lower a coin's value, even if it otherwise appears well preserved. In this particular case, the scratches present on the 1945 S penny slightly diminish its appeal, but the coin remains identifiable and collectible. Although most 1945 S pennies are common, higher values are achieved with coins in superior grades, such as very fine, extremely fine, or uncirculated condition. Coins in these higher grades retain more of the original detail, and their surfaces are cleaner, which makes them more desirable to collectors. Uncirculated 1945 S pennies can be worth several dollars or more, depending on color, luster, and overall condition. Certain error varieties, such as double dies or off-center strikes, can also increase the value significantly, although such errors are rare for this date and generally command higher prices only if clearly visible and collectible. Standard circulated coins, like the one described, with wear and some scratches, remain within the modest value range, but are still an important and historical example of the series.
Next up, the 1937 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, as Philadelphia coins during that period did not carry a mint mark. This coin is part of the famous Lincoln Wheat Penny series, which began in 1909 and continued until 1958. The obverse features a right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. The inscriptions, "In God We Trust," appear above Lincoln's head, "Liberty" is to the left, and the date, 1937, is shown to the right. The reverse displays two wheat stalks surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum at the top. The 1937 issue is considered a common date in the wheat penny series, as millions were produced. Because of this high mintage, most examples are affordable unless found in uncirculated condition or with special characteristics. A coin graded very fine condition shows moderate wear from circulation but still retains clear detail. In this grade, Lincoln's hair will show noticeable wear, but many of the main hairlines are still visible. The cheek and jaw are smooth but not heavily worn flat. The bow tie and coat lines remain visible, though softened. On the reverse, the wheat stalks will show moderate wear, but the inner grain lines are still partly defined, and all lettering remains strong and clear. When scratches are present, the value is reduced. Scratches are considered post-mint damage and negatively affect the coin's eye appeal. Light, small scratches that do not distract much from the design may only slightly lower the price. However, deeper or more noticeable scratches can reduce the value more significantly, sometimes placing the coin closer to fine-grade pricing even if the remaining detail is very fine. In today's market, a 1937 Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark in clean, very fine condition typically sells for around $2 to $5. If the coin has some visible scratches but still maintains solid detail and natural color, a realistic value would generally fall between about $1.50 and $3. If the scratches are heavy or very distracting, the coin may sell closer to $1. Most circulated 1937 pennies are brown in color due to oxidation over time. Natural, even brown surfaces are preferred by collectors. If the coin has been cleaned or polished, this can further reduce the value, sometimes more than the scratches themselves. Collectors usually prefer original surfaces, even with light wear, rather than cleaned coins. The 1937 Lincoln cent is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. It weighs approximately 3.11 grams and measures 19 millimeters in diameter. While it is not a rare date, it remains a popular collectible as part of the classic wheat penny series.
1948 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint and is part of the classic Lincoln wheat cent series that was produced from 1909 to 1958. This coin carries the familiar design of President Abraham Lincoln. When a coin is described as being in fine condition, it means it has seen moderate wear from circulation, but still retains most of its major design elements. On a 1948 wheat penny in this condition, Lincoln's facial features, hair, and coat will show wear but remain distinct. The wheat stalks on the reverse will still be visible, though the finer inner lines may be smoothed from use. The presence of some scratches on the coin means that its overall eye appeal is slightly reduced, and collectors will take that into account when evaluating its value. Surface scratches do not add value, rather they slightly lower what a buyer might be willing to pay compared with a similar coin in the same grade but with cleaner surfaces. In today's coin market, a 1948 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in fine condition with some scratches is generally considered a modestly valued collectible. Because this date was produced in high numbers and is common in circulated grades, values remain affordable. Typical market values for a 1948 no mint mark penny in fine condition range from about 20 cents to around $1 in US dollars. Most circulated 1948 pennies, including those graded fine and those with moderate wear, sell for only a few cents to around 50 cents, with slightly nicer pieces that retain more attractive surfaces, sometimes approaching the $1 mark among collectors or in private sales. A coin with lighter wear and more pleasing color may fetch closer to the higher end of this range, while one with deeper or more noticeable scratches tends to be valued toward the lower end. Collectors often pay attention to color and surface quality in addition to grade. Many pennies from the 1940s develop an even brown tone over decades, and collectors generally prefer coins with natural toning that shows age rather than harsh cleaning or environmental damage. Even brown or reddish-brown toning that has developed naturally is usually more appealing than uneven discoloration. Coins that have been cleaned harshly or that show stains, corrosion, or heavy marks are usually less desirable and can sell for less even if they appear in the same grade. In this particular case, the scratches present on the 1948 wheat penny slightly diminish its desirability, but the coin remains recognizable and collectible. While most 1948 wheat pennies are common in circulated grades, higher values are achieved for coins in superior condition or with special features. Coins in very fine, extremely fine, or uncirculated grades will be worth more, and uncirculated examples, especially those retaining original color, can sell for several dollars or more, depending on eye appeal and surface quality. Rare error varieties, such as doubled dies or striking anomalies, can also command premiums if the error is significant and clearly collectible. However, for standard circulated examples with wear and some scratches, values remain within the modest range typical for common Lincoln wheat pennies. The 1948 wheat penny has a composition of approximately 95% copper with 5% tin and zinc, a weight of about 3.11 grams, and a diameter of 19 millimeters. This composition, standard for Lincoln cents before 1982, helps ensure durability, which is why so many coins from this era survive in collections and circulation. The coin's physical characteristics and long history make it a meaningful example of mid-20th century American coinage.
Next up, the 1920 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, since coins from Philadelphia during that time did not carry a mint mark. It is part of the early Lincoln wheat cent series that began in 1909. The front of the coin shows President Abraham Lincoln's portrait facing right, with the date 1920 to the right side. Above his head appears "In God We Trust," and "Liberty" is positioned to the left. The reverse design features two wheat stalks along the sides, with 1 cent and "United States of America" in the center and "E Pluribus Unum" at the top. The 1920 issue is considered an early date in the series, but it is not rare. Many examples were heavily circulated, so higher grade pieces are more desirable. A coin in fine condition shows moderate circulation wear. In this grade, Lincoln's hair details are worn but still visible in the main areas, though finer strands are mostly smooth. The cheek and jawline show clear wear, and the coat details are partially flattened. On the reverse, the wheat stalks are worn, but the general lines and separation of the grains are still visible. All major lettering and the date should be bold and readable. When the coin has scratches, its value is reduced.
Scratches are considered damage because they occur after the coin leaves the mint. Even if the coin has solid, fine detail, visible scratches reduce collector interest and eye appeal. Light surface scratches may only slightly lower the price, while deeper or multiple scratches can push the value closer to that of a lower-grade coin. In today's market, a 1920 Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark in clean, fine condition typically sells for around $5 to $10. If the coin has some noticeable scratches, but still maintains decent overall detail and natural color, the realistic value would usually fall between about $3 and $6. If the scratches are heavy or very distracting, the price may drop closer to $2 to $4. Color also plays an important role. Most 1920 pennies are brown due to age and oxidation. Collectors prefer natural brown surfaces, rather than coins that have been cleaned or polished. Cleaning often leaves unnatural shine or hairline marks and can significantly reduce the value. The 1920 Lincoln cent is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. It weighs approximately 3.11 grams and measures 19 millimeters in diameter. Being over 100 years old, it has historical appeal, but because it is not a rare date, its value mainly depends on condition and surface quality. Next up, 1956 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with a D mint mark was struck at the Denver Mint and belongs to the long-running Lincoln Wheat Cent series that was produced from 1909 to 1958. On the obverse of this coin is the familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln, with the date 1956 and the small D mint mark located to the right of his portrait. The words, "In God We Trust," appear above Lincoln's head, while "Liberty" is to the left. When a coin is described as being in very fine condition, it means the coin shows moderate wear from circulation, but still retains most of its design details. On a 1956 D wheat penny in this grade, Lincoln's hair, facial features, and coat will show wear but remain clearly visible and distinct. The wheat stalks on the reverse will be well defined, though the finer inner lines may be slightly worn. The presence of some scratches on the surface affects the overall eye appeal and market value slightly, because collectors prefer coins with cleaner, less marred surfaces. Scratches do not add value. They generally reduce what someone is willing to pay compared with a similar coin that has fewer marks. In today's coin market, a 1956 D wheat penny with a Denver D mint mark in very fine condition with some scratches is considered a common but collectible coin, and its typical value in US dollars generally ranges from about $2 to $4. Coins that have a pleasing brown or reddish-brown toning in minimal surface distractions tend to sell toward the higher end of this range, while those with more noticeable scratches or less attractive appearance tend to fall toward the lower end. Because this issue was produced in large numbers, it is not considered scarce in circulated grades, but examples that show good detail and decent eye appeal continue to be of interest to collectors, especially those completing Lincoln wheat penny sets. Collectors also pay attention to the coin's color and how original the surfaces appear. Many pennies from the 1950s have developed natural brown or reddish-brown toning over time, which is generally more desirable than coins that have been harshly cleaned or show evidence of environmental damage. Original toning that developed evenly over many years is preferred because it suggests the coin has not been treated or altered, which helps maintain its collectible appeal. In this case, the presence of scratches means the coin does not have perfect surfaces, but in circulated grades like very fine, some marks are expected and factored into the value range. While most 1956 D pennies in very fine condition are modestly priced collectibles, coins in higher grades, such as extremely fine or uncirculated mint state condition, carry higher values. Uncirculated examples with full original color and strong strike can be worth much more, often several dollars or more depending on the market and the coin's eye appeal. Rare error varieties, or coins with unusual striking characteristics, such as off-center strikes or doubling, can command premiums if the error is significant and clearly visible, though such varieties are uncommon for this date. The metal composition of the 1956 wheat penny is approximately 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, with a weight of about 3.11 grams and a diameter of 19 millimeters. This composition was standard for Lincoln cents before the change in 1982 to a primarily zinc core with a thin copper plating. Because of its copper content and durability, many Lincoln pennies from this era have survived decades of circulation, though surface wear and marks are common.
The 1919 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, as Philadelphia coins from that time did not carry a mint mark. This coin is part of the original Lincoln Wheat Cent series that began in 1909. The obverse features President Abraham Lincoln's right-facing portrait designed by Victor David Brenner, with the date 1919 to the right and the inscriptions "In God We Trust" above and "Liberty" to the left. The reverse displays two wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America with E pluribus unum along the top. The 1919 issue is an early date in the wheat penny series and is more desirable than many later 1940s and 1950s cents. Because of its age, many surviving examples show moderate to heavy circulation wear. A coin described as extra fine condition still shows light wear on the highest points, but retains strong detail overall. On a 1919 penny in extra fine grade, Lincoln's hair details are mostly sharp, with only slight smoothing above the ear and on the cheek. The bow tie and coat lines remain clear. On the reverse, the wheat stalks should show visible inner grain lines, although some light wear may be present on the high areas. However, the presence of scratches lowers the value. Scratches are considered damage because they occur after the coin leaves the mint. Even if the coin technically has extra fine detail, noticeable scratches reduce eye appeal and collector demand. Light, small scratches may only slightly reduce the price, while deeper or multiple scratches can bring the value down closer to a lower grade level. In today's market, a 1919 Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark in clean, extra-fine condition typically sells in the range of approximately $15 to $30. If the coin has some scratches but still maintains strong detail and natural color, the realistic market value would generally fall between about $10 and $20. If the scratches are heavy or very distracting, the price may drop closer to $8 to $12. Color also affects value. Wheat pennies are usually described as brown, red-brown, or red. Most circulated 1919 cents are brown due to age and oxidation. Natural, even brown color is preferred. Harsh cleaning, polishing, or artificial shine will significantly reduce value. Collectors usually prefer original surfaces, even with light wear, over cleaned coins. The 1919 Lincoln cent is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighs about 3.11 grams, and has a diameter of 19 millimeters. Because it is over 100 years old, it carries historical appeal as a coin minted shortly after World War I, which adds to its collectible interest.
Next up, 1946 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with an S mint mark was produced at the San Francisco Mint and is part of the classic Lincoln Wheat Cent series, which was struck from 1909 to 1958. The obverse of the coin features President Abraham Lincoln's profile, designed by Victor David Brenner, with the date 1946 and a small S mint mark to the right of his portrait. Above Lincoln's head is the inscription, "In God We Trust," while the word "Liberty" appears to the left. When a coin is described as being in extra fine condition, it means that it has been circulated but shows only light to moderate wear. On a 1946 Lincoln Wheat penny in this grade, Lincoln's facial features, hair, and coat remain clearly visible with only slight flattening, and the wheat stalks on the reverse are well defined. Some finer lines may be slightly worn, but the major details of the design are intact. This particular coin also has some scratches, which slightly reduce its overall eye appeal and can affect its market value. Scratches do not enhance a coin's value, rather they are considered imperfections that collectors factor into the price they are willing to pay. Despite these minor surface marks, the coin is still identifiable, and the extra fine grade ensures that most of the original design is preserved. In today's market, a 1946 Abraham Lincoln Wheat penny in extra fine condition with some scratches is generally considered a modestly valued collectible. Typical values in US dollars for circulated 1946 pennies in this grade range from approximately 60 cents to $2 or $3. Coins with an even brown or reddish-brown coloration in minimal distracting scratches usually sell toward the higher end of this range, while those with deeper marks or less appealing surfaces are valued toward the lower end. Because the 1946 penny was produced in significant numbers, it is not considered rare in circulated grades, but examples with good detail and decent surfaces remain desirable for collectors. Collectors also take into account color and surface quality when determining a coin's value. Many pennies from the 1940s develop natural brown toning over time, which is generally preferred over coins that have been harshly cleaned, corroded, or have uneven coloring. Even natural toning enhances the coin's visual appeal, while harsh cleaning or environmental damage can reduce it. In this case, although the coin has some scratches, its extra fine grade indicates that the major design elements remain distinct and the coin retains most of its collectible appeal. Coins with original toning and relatively smooth surfaces are generally more attractive to collectors. While the 1946 penny is common in circulated grades, higher values are achieved in superior grades or for coins with unusual features. Coins in extremely fine or uncirculated condition are worth more, especially if they retain original color and sharp strike. Some uncirculated 1946 pennies can command several dollars or more, depending on eye appeal and surface quality, and exceptionally high-grade certified examples can reach much higher prices. Rare error varieties such as off-center strikes or mint mark anomalies may also increase value significantly if the error is clear and collectible, though such examples are uncommon. Standard circulated coins with light scratches remain modestly priced, but are still desirable for completing date and mint mark collections. Next up, the 1949 Abraham Lincoln Wheat penny with a D mint mark was struck at the Denver Mint and is part of the classic Lincoln Wheat penny series that ran from 1909 through 1958. The obverse features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner with the date 1949 to the right of his profile. Just below the date is the small D mint mark indicating the Denver Mint. The inscriptions, "In God We Trust," appear above Lincoln's head, while "Liberty" is to the left. The reverse features two stylized wheat stalks along the sides, framing the denomination 1 cent and the inscription "United States of America," with E pluribus unum at the top. The 1949 D wheat penny is considered a common date, as large numbers were produced for circulation. A coin in extra fine condition shows light wear on the highest points, but retains nearly all details. Lincoln's hair, cheek, and coat lines remain clear and well defined, though slight smoothing may be visible on the hairlines or bow tie. On the reverse, the wheat stalks retain most of their inner line detail, and all lettering is sharp and readable. Extra fine coins are attractive to collectors because they provide a good balance between visible circulation wear and strong remaining detail. The presence of scratches reduces the coin's value. Scratches are considered post-mint damage and detract from eye appeal. Minor surface scratches may slightly lower the value, while deeper or more noticeable scratches can significantly reduce what a collector is willing to pay. Even in extra fine condition, visible scratches can prevent the coin from reaching the higher end of its typical market range. In today's market, a 1949 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with a D mint mark in extra fine condition with some scratches generally has a value ranging between approximately 50 cents and $2. Coins with even brown or reddish-brown color in minimal distractions tend to sell toward the higher end of this range, while coins with heavier scratches or dull, uneven surfaces are closer to the lower end. Severe scratches or additional surface issues may reduce the value further. Collectors pay close attention to surface quality and original toning. Wheat pennies from the late 1940s often develop natural brown or reddish-brown color over time. Coins with original, uncleaned surfaces are more desirable than those that have been harshly cleaned or polished. Even with some scratches, an extra fine coin with natural color is generally more appealing than a cleaned coin. Higher-grade examples, such as about uncirculated or mint state, carry higher value, especially if they retain original red luster. Uncirculated 1949 D pennies can be worth several dollars, depending on condition, eye appeal, and color. However, a circulated coin with light wear and some scratches remains modestly priced. The 1949 wheat penny is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighs approximately 3.11 grams, and measures 19 millimeters in diameter. Its durable copper composition has allowed many coins from this period to survive in collectible condition today.